Hello everyone, Tina here. I hope your day is going wonderful. Thank you so much for joining me. Well, today I want to create a floral project. We're using some items from Papertrey Ink. My project today is actually part of an Instagram hop that has lots of inspiration with the brand new June release. So I hope you can stop on by Instagram and check it out. Papertrey Ink is always a great place to start, so just head over there and you can see lots of inspiration with the new release. Now, the items that I have today are not part of the June release, but I did want to share a project, and so let's jump in and create a card. And we are going to be using the Thank You Florals stamp set. There is a coordinating die set that will cut out these beautiful florals, and then I am bringing back the Decorative Circles cover plate. I've used this before, but I just love the background that this creates. I also have a die set that I had just picked up. This is called Branching Out. And you know I love leaf flourishes, and this is a beautiful large leaf that I might add. I'm not sure if I'm going to add this or not, but just in case, I thought we would use that as well. And again, this is not part of the June release, but the inspiration over on the Instagram hop is filled with the June release. I hope you get a chance to check it out. Okay, let's create some flowers. And this stamp set is really pretty. I'm going to bring in my stamping positioner and some white cardstock. I'm going to start by stamping the large floral image, and while we're at it, I'm going to add a few of the smaller florals. The nice thing about the stamp set is you have the solid images that are almost the same exact size as... Actually, they are the same size as your bouquet here, so you could layer them together if you like. I'm going to go ahead and stamp some leaves to go along with our floral. And I think that's good. I'm going to stamp my florals with my True Black ink pad. Such a nice ink pad. I'm going to stamp a few extra leaves, and we'll put a couple down here too. Maybe one more over here. Okay. It's a pretty image, huh? In our stamp set, we have some solid images that we can color in our florals with. I'm going to zoom in a little bit, and I have all of those solid shapes on some acrylic blocks, and we're going to bring in some inks here. I have Orange Zest, Harvest Gold for our florals, and then I have Spring Moss and Ripe Avocado for our leaves. We'll start with our leaves here. And what I like to do is go with my lightest ink first, and then I kind of want to add a little bit of a gradient on one side of that leaf, and then you just line them up and stamp right over the existing leaf, and it stamps beautifully. We'll do that again. I'll ink up with my lightest ink and then add a little bit of color off to one side, and then we can just stamp that. And I just think that looks very pretty and organic. Let's ink up. And again, my lightest green is Spring Moss. Lightest ink, just stamp that. So our green inks are all good. Now let's color in some flowers. I'm going to do the same thing with my largest flower first. And I want to make sure I know the position of my flower. I'm going to ink up with my Harvest Gold and add a little bit of shading on one side with my Orange Zest. We'll go ahead and stamp that. And then we have our middle flower. We'll do the same. Ink it up with our Harvest Gold. Add a little shading. And if you have a harsh line, you see how that's just a straight line? Don't be afraid to bring in a finger dauber here. And then you can kind of fade out with that. I'll pick up a little bit more of that Harvest Gold. We'll stamp that, and it stamps beautifully. Now our leaves are filled in, and there is these little flower beds, and there is an image for that. I'm going to color those in with my orange zest, and we'll just stamp right over the top of those. And then our beautiful florals are complete. I'm going to go ahead and take the coordinating dies, and we'll die cut out all of our pretty flowers. Okay, I have my florals all die cut out, and now we're going to do a little bit more stamping. We are going to be using I have from the Vase collection. This is number 8, and it creates a real pretty water pail. It's a layered stamp. You can see here. You can just stamp the base layer, and you can also add the little galvanized look to it. So we're going to do a little bit of layering. I went ahead and die cut out my water pail. I'm going to keep the negative, and we can layer these together like so. We're going to bring back our stamping positioner. And then I like to add the outline. We're going to insert our water pail, and then we can line up our first image right over the top. I want a blue water pail, so it's going to line up really easily. Now we're going to be using, for our first layer, Blueberry Sky. We'll just go over the solid part of our water pail. Stamp this. I want to stamp it a couple times, and then I'm going to go back in with my second layer. It stamps beautifully. We'll go ahead and clean off our first layer. And then for a detail layer, I'm going to go slightly darker. So we're going to be using the dark indigo. We'll stamp this. I think we just need to stamp this once. I think that looks wonderful. We can go ahead and remove our water pail. And I like when you die cut it out, it die cuts out the handle also. Now we're almost done. I do want to do a little bit more die cutting and ink blending, but this time we're going to be using that beautiful background. This is the Decorative Circles background. We're going to die cut this out with just some white cardstock, and it will create an A2 size panel. And this is what it looks like. It has that pierced detail, which is really pretty. Now I wanted to do a little bit of ink blending on the almost at an angle on my decorative circle background. I'm going to use those same inks that we used for our galvanized or our water pail, and I'm going to use a blending tool for this. I'm going to pick up some ink, and starting from the bottom, we're going to add a little bit of color and kind of fade up. I'm using my lightest ink, which is Blueberry Sky. After we have our Blueberry Sky, we're going to close this up and then add some dark touches along the bottom edge here. and we'll use our dark indigo for that. And this really does pick up the dotted detail. So that's our background. I'm going to flip this around. We're going to add some adhesive behind here. We're going to place this on an A2 size card front. After we have our panel adhered to our card base, we're going to go ahead and create a fun floral background. I already put foam adhesive behind all of my florals and my water pail, and now we just get to arrange how we want our florals on our background. And I thought about bringing the branch leaf in, and I decided that with such a pretty background, we don't really need too much on our card today. So I'm going to go ahead and add our leaves. And I think that looks really pretty. For my sentiment, we're going to stamp thank you, and I'm going to use my dark indigo ink. We'll stamp on some white cardstock. And I'm going to trim this down with my paper trimmer. I'm going to add this over the bottom portion of my water pail, kind of tucking it underneath our florals here. I think that's a good spot. Kind of grounds our water pail. And then we just need to add a few bells and whistles. I think that's just the right amount of shimmer. And then I'm also going to take my white gel pen, and we're going to add a few little dots to the center of our flowers here. And then that finishes my card today. I hope you get a chance to join Papertrey Ink's Instagram hop. I think you're going to get really inspired with the brand new release. Have a wonderful day. Thanks for joining me, and we will see you soon. Bye-bye.